Hello, everyone. I'm Jimmy Panetta, your United States Representative, and I want to thank you for allowing me to be a part of this press conference, albeit virtually. As you can see, I'm in Washington, D.C. I actually just landed on Monday night, but I wanted to be with you in spirit as the Monterey County Board of Supervisors adopts this very, very powerful resolution. Let me also take this time to thank each of the 5 Board of Supervisors for reaffirming that Monterey County, our home, has long been and will continue to be a champion for women's rights and reproductive health care. I also want to thank all of the public officials and local leaders that are there in attendance, because it is at times like this that it's important that we remind everybody in Monterey County that we stand shoulder to shoulder to ensure a woman's right to choose. However, and as we know well, we need to do what we can to not only live up to that reputation, but from here on out, we need to do what we can to live up to today's resolution. With the leak of the draft decision by the United States Supreme Court that would overturn Roe v. Wade, the rights of many in many other parts of our nation to make their own decision on their own reproductive health care may be taken away. It's a decision that would not only overturn 50 years of constitutional guarantee in America, it is a decision that would mean that our daughters have less rights than their mothers. It's also a decision that would mean that depending on their home state, women will be confronted with a maze of rules, laws, and regulations when it comes to their own reproductive rights. In other words, the ability for a woman to choose would depend on where that woman lives. Now, in most counties on the Central Coast, especially in Monterey County, as confirmed by this resolution, we know that women have and will continue to have that choice. But why should a woman in Monterey have that right to make such a private and important decision when a woman in Missouri would not? Why should a woman who has the resources to drive to a neighboring state be able to receive such health care when a woman of lower socioeconomic status without the resources to travel would not have that choice? See, I firmly believe that every person in the United States, no matter where they live or how much money they have, should be able to raise a family on their own terms. That means that every woman should have the choice if, when, and how they want to do that. Now, as your federal representative, I have and I will continue to fight for women to be able to make their own decision. See, many didn't know this, but we in the House of Representatives did just that by voting to codify Roe v. Wade into law. Back in September of last year, we voted and we passed out of the House the Women's Health Protection Act. But, and you probably do know this, that bill is now stuck in the Senate. Now, I'm glad to say that this week the Senate is actually going to do something and vote on that bill, but I'm sorry to say that it probably won't pass. That's why the Senate majority should try to do everything it can to create such an important right. Again, in the House of Representatives, we fought, we voted, and we passed that bill to enshrine that right into law. But clearly, that's just not enough. So if the court does overturn Roe v. Wade, it will fall on our nation's elected officials at all levels of government to protect a woman's right to choose. That means it's going to fall on all of us, the voters, this November. I know for many that that's not immediately satisfying. But let me remind you of what you have done and must continue to do. See, we did it in 2018. That's why we in the House are able to vote. That's why we voted in September on the Women's Health Protection Act. We did it in 2020, and that's why this week the Senate will then vote on that bill. And that is why in November of this year, not just in the new 19th Congressional District, but all across this country, if you vote, that's how we can obtain real protections for women. Let me also remind you of something else. See, we remember the inauguration of the previous administration that took place on January 20th, 2017. But let us not forget what happened the very next day. On January 21st, 2017, when millions of people throughout the country took to the streets for the Women's March. It was a day, it was an event that I'll never forget. And it was an energy that this country will never forget. And it was an event that provided a momentum that we used and harnessed to get people to vote. Ladies and gentlemen, it's that same energy that is behind this Monterey County resolution. But also, with this resolution, we got to be reinvigorated to use our power so that each and every one of us plays our part to protect a woman's right to choose. Thank you, and thank you to the Monterey County Board of Supervisors.